KO of the year was picture perfect. Listen to the sound of this one.
Here's the straight right hand, hurt him a little bit. That's a beautiful right hand. He's out. Down goes. He's out. Dominic. Here it comes. Watch the leverage from the bottom of his feet. Boom! Straight right hand. Everything landed solid, Mark. I mean, that's a picture perfect shot.
If you watched part 1, you'll remember my pick for Mike Tyson was his legendary night against Michael Spinks. It was a brilliant night in Iron Mike's career, but if we're talking just pure savagery, there's no doubt his punch over Michael Jack Johnson in 1985 was the most brutal one-punch knockout of his career.
23-pound weight advantage, and he put it all there.
It was rumored Johnson broke his jaw in the fight. Just another day in the office for Prime Mike. Sucker punches are always well documented when looking back on the crazy nights in the ring. But rarely do you see the punch come from one of the cornermen. Check out the disgusting act committed by Andre Dirrell's uncle after his nephew got knocked out by an illegal punch after the bell.
Oh, wow. Jesus.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
My gosh.
That's inappropriate to say the least.
That's assault, you guys.
Tell you, Scott, you got a good chair. That's why Scott think he's so mad.
After the punch landed, Dirrell's uncle escaped the building and went on the run from authorities. He managed to evade capture for 2 weeks before he handed himself in. The opposing corner dropped all charges on him anyway. When you see that this was actually the 26th fastest knockdown of all time, you'll definitely be wondering how a fight could possibly end any faster. Check out the 13-second blowout between Jimmy Thunder and Crawford Grimsley in 1997.
Place in his career. He was on a roll. He had won 7 in a row by knockout. And now, Grimsley with the first punch. And that looks like it is it.
Why the referee counting? You don't have to count on that. This fight is over. The referee counted him out.
James Thunder, known as a quick starter, but we didn't think it would be that quick. Said he had to come up with something very big, and I think he did.
Not much to say for number 17. I assume most of you guys watching at home have seen it already, but I don't think it would be right to make a knockout reel without putting Canelo's 2016 KO of the year over Amir Khan on here. Khan was actually boxing pretty well in the opening rounds, using his speed to upset the much bigger Canelo. But in round 6, the Mexican turned up the volume and put the gutsy Brit flat on the mat.
As well as taking away his energy and
Not many boxers can boast about the fact that the hardest punch they took through their first 15 fights was by themselves. Yes, you heard that right. Tyson Fury actually landed a flush uppercut on himself during his contest with Lee Swaby in 2009.
Grunting with effort as he unloads. Desperate call on there. Yeah, he's desperate for a knockout, Fury.
September 8th, 2004 was the date Bernard Hopkins made his 18th straight title defense of his middleweight crown. Oscar De La Hoya was undoubtedly his toughest challenge yet, outside of Felix Trinidad a few years prior. B-Hop was outboxing Oscar for the first 9 rounds, and everyone was expecting the two to battle it out to the end. But out of nowhere, Oscar went down on what appeared to be a light body blow, and many of the spectators felt it was a dive. What do you think?
But it didn't seem like it was enough. It was more back on the back part of the rib cage and not so much in the volume earlier. It seemed like it shouldn't have, well, who knows.
delayed reaction. De La Hoya clearly still reacting to that left hook to the body, and then he took a little shot on the head, but unquestionably it was the body shot that finished Oscar De La Hoya in the fight.
Although many people at the time thought it was a dive, I'm fairly confident that the punch did more impact than what meets the eye. To all you guys at home that have been hit in the body, I'm sure you understand. This is the only punch from part 1 and 2 that's not directly from one fight. But I felt it would be an injustice to finish these videos without mentioning the unique punch held by Donovan Razor Ruddock, known as the Smash. Here's a preview of what the punch looks like. Kind of like an uppercut jab, but the power he generated on these things throughout his career was amazing.
What a punch, what a delivery, what hands speed.
Not using his legs at all.
The greatest female knockout, hands down, came back in 2004 when the giant 6'6" Vonda Ward stepped in the ring against the legendary Ann Wolfe. Both girls were the best fighters of their time, only 2 losses in their whole careers between them. And with the size advantage massively apparent, you might be surprised who won.
15 knockouts, but how many people were scared of her and did not really fight her?
Oh, big right hand! One punch! That is it! Forget about the count! It is over! Tim Hurd! Unbelievable! Let's hope.
Being knocked out normally has only one outcome. Boxer gets hit, boxer goes to sleep. But one of the strangest reactions to a KO happened back in 1995 when Vincent Petway landed a vicious counter left hook that sent Simon Brown to the canvas hard.
And it's that type of fight. Simon gets clipped with a left hook, and Simon may not be able to recover from this one. Counts up to 5 and 6 and 7. He's not going to make it. It's at 8, 9, and 10. Simon Brown knocked out with a left hook.
Sticking to the theme of strange-looking faces on the canvas, it would be criminal to leave out Francisco de Jesus' look of desperation on the mat when he got brutalized by Lamar Parks in 1992.
Bottom line. And there it is. A matter of time. Never, never land. Look at the eyes. He's out. They shouldn't even count. That's all. The eyes tell me.
If there was ever a look to sum up a boxer being completely finished, I think it was this one. I'm not sure if there has ever been such a brutal first-round knockout in the heavyweight division between 2 top contenders as when David Tua met John Ruiz back in 1996. Everyone knew Tua was an up-and-coming power puncher, but he had only fought low-level opponents until this point. No one expected him to annihilate Ruiz this way, and I mean no one.
And John Ruiz, 225. Listed as having a reach advantage here. We'll see how he uses it. Tua with a big left hook, and Ruiz in trouble. Tua comes right at him. Another big bomb, and Ruiz is down. This could almost be over now. Tua came storming out. It's over. Tony Perez stops it at the count of 5.
Ruiz laid unconscious for a good 5 minutes, but thankfully made a full recovery. When Mayweather retired after beating Ricky Hatton in 2007, most boxing fans knew it would only be a matter of time before we saw the pound-for-pound star back in the ring. But 2 years went by until he eventually made his return, and to the surprise of many, his comeback opponent was none other than Juan Manuel Marquez. The opportunity to earn Mayweather money was far too good for Marquez to turn down, despite actively fighting 2 weight divisions below. But weights aside, this in my opinion was the most glorious performance of Mayweather's career. No one has ever beaten Marquez with such ease. He slipped and counterpunched beautifully all night, and even knocked down the Mexican Warrior in round 2.
And he said he's doing this to the Mexican people, and down he goes! That was sharp and slick, accurate from Floyd Mayweather.
Muhammad Ali was the king of trash talking. He could talk his way out of a speeding ticket in the early 1960s, but the hype nearly came crashing down in 1963 when Ali ventured to the United Kingdom to take on brave warrior Henry Cooper in what was supposed to be a routine victory before he challenged Sonny Liston for the title.
He was doing a bit of showboat. He was dropping his hands, so I showed him one left, I showed him another left, and then when he couldn't get back any further, pop, I hit him with the left hook. And when I used to hit him with the left hook, the eyes used to shoot up the top of their head, and both of his eyes were at the top of his head.
After Ali got back to his feet, his cornerman cut his gloves open on purpose to delay the fight from progressing while Ali was still clearly dazed from the blow. Subsequently, Ali went on to defeat Cooper the very next round, just as he predicted. One of, if not the most satisfying punch in boxing history, landed in the heated 2013 clash between Marcos Maidana and Adrian Broner. The trash talking done by Broner in the build-up was outrageous to say the least, and most boxing fans were picking the 27-0 fighter to win the bout with relative ease. But you can never count on a man that possesses the power Maidana does, and in round 2 he landed with a sweet left hook and put Broner down for the first time in his career.
Rounds, and there's the right hand lead by Maidana that sticks. Another right hand. Broner goes down for the first time in his career.
He's hurt back.
And he's hurt.
Bernard Hopkins seemed to be defying the laws of aging in his late 40s. He was beating world champion after world champion and looking pretty good doing it. But when he stepped in the ring for the last time in 2016 against giving him far from a dream send-off.
Two possible opponents.
Big right hand.
He's out. Outrage. God. That's
Suggested that just knocked Bernard Hopkins out of the ring. And that time, he landed something huge.
And it's a huge win for Joe Smith. And it's still an extraordinary thing to see Bernard Hopkins push.
For those of you that watched part 1, you might remember the casual walk Foreman did just before he obliterated Jerry Coogan. And if you thought that was casual, check out Jersey Joe Walcott's before landing a devastating uppercut on Ezzard Charles. It was so casual, it was like he was walking to the shop to grab a pint of milk.
Oh, a terrific left hook to the jaw, and Charles is down. The champion is down flat on his face.
This was actually an amazing upset victory for Walcott. He had previously failed on 4 attempts for the heavyweight title and entered the bout a 9-1 underdog. We all enjoy watching a younger George Foreman running through guys like they were nothing but pancake batter, waiting to be flattened out and rolled over. But his greatest night in the ring would come 20 years later when he matched up against Michael Moore for the IBF heavyweight title. Moore dominated Foreman for 10 rounds until, out of nowhere, Big George landed a quick 2-punch combination and became the oldest heavyweight champion of all time.
Michael Moore needs to go back to working. That's it! It's a short right hand! There is no way he's getting up from that! That is the face of shock and awe. Joe Cortez finishing the count of 10. George Foreman looks up at the heavens. He is once again. Now that he needs the break.
From 1989 to 2003, Roy Jones Jr. had 50 fights with 39 victories. The only loss on his record was caused by him making a stupid mistake in the first fight with Montel Griffin in 1997.
We are being told that Roy Jones is going to be disqualified.
Just a few months later, the rematch was on, and Jones didn't waste his time, proving he was undoubtedly the best fighter in the world, pound for pound.
For Roy Jones so far.
And Roy Jones is playing the fainting game, and Griffith is benefiting by it. Oh, what a left hook. What a left hook.
He's got trouble. And that's that. Jones gets his vindication via a first-round knockout.
One of the most epic clashes of style came back in 1990 when the 68-0 Julio Cesar Chavez took on the 24-0 Speed Demon Mildred Taylor. The bout ended up winning the award for the 1990 Fight of the Year, and rightly so.
This is a masterful fight.
After a grueling 12-round war, Taylor had a clear lead on 2 of the 3 judges' scorecards and just had to make it to the final bell to score a huge upset. But Chavez, being the ultimate champion he was, did his utmost best to turn the fight around.
If he gets up, he probably wins the fight. I can't believe it!